first and foremost, they're supposed to be your parents. They're supposed to be your parents. They're supposed to be your family, your immediate family, your parents. Now, if you don't have that, now, because we know everybody ain't brought up the same and ain't raised the same, stuff
Right.
happens.
Yes.
If you don't have those outlets, then yes, you have to look elsewhere and other outlets for your mentorship and your inspiration and who you look up to. You know what I mean? And that
Right.
doesn't look the same for everyone, you know? So, you know, we have to keep that in mind.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, if you're willing to learn or if you're willing to get on the positive side, there are ways. If you
Yes.
just want to sit around and feel sorry for yourself
Yeah.
because nobody else is care, you have to take care of yourself. You have to be listening to the wise people. The best, as you said, are your parents. If you don't have the access to them somehow because life happens and
Yeah,
everybody is different, then find somebody. And
that's
I
right.
believe it's easier to get now. I mean, I would not say that it's easier, but you can try. With time,
Can.
you will find, you
Yeah.
know.
You have to,
Yeah,
like you said, you have to try.
exactly. Wow. Thank you for that. And as I said, we also love to have the conscious conversation and the empowerment because, as you said, you got the confidence, mainly the confidence to start the YouTube and the empowerment that you work on that. And also, as you mentioned, that you're a cancer survivor.
Yes.
I want to know your journey because I believe that could help so many others, individuals who are going through or had been through in this. They can relate. So how does that look like to you and how was that?
Oh boy.
Huh.
So I have been a cervical cancer survivor since 1996. Okay. So,
Okay.
boy, where do I start? Oh, man, I haven't had to talk about this in a while.
Oh,
Long to the short,
okay.
hopefully.
Okay. If we got time.
Yeah, if we got time. Long to the short. I had my daughter
Okay.
in 1995.
Okay.
Okay. And so I am the type of person who is very much aware of what's going on with her as far as health. I always kept all of my appointments. You know what I mean? As far as my physicals, my GYN appointments,
Right.
my mammograms,
Hmm.
all of that.
Okay.
I don't play around with that. So had my daughter and I kept putting it off far as, okay, I have to go, do my GYN appointment, after I was able to.
Okay.
So I went to do my GYN appointment and then I got a call back. And so I was nervous. They said, okay, it came back abnormal. We want you to come in for a biopsy. Okay, fine.
Okay.
I really didn't think that much of it. I was, kind of
Yeah,
worried because I never, ever got a call back.
I see.
As long as I've been, taking care of my GYN appointments, never got a call back.
Hmm.
So, okay, come in, do a biopsy. Went in, did a biopsy, was working, whatever. And then one day I got a phone call. They said, okay, we want you to come in. We want to talk to you about your results. I said, okay, fine. So went in and it wasn't the regular like GYN doctor that I was, that I had an appointment with. It was the actual doctor that was going to be performing my surgery. Little did I know at the time.
Oh,
Went in, I was by myself.
okay.
I went in, sat down. What's going on, doc? It's a gentleman, doctor, and I would never forget his name, Dr. Prefontaine.
Oh, wow. That's a unique name.
Yeah, Dr. Prefontaine. So I'm sitting there. He says, yeah, we found some, abnormal cells and, we found out that you have cancer. And I'm sitting there like,
Wow.
it didn't register at first. It really didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm just sitting there looking at him. And I kept trying to replay when he said the word cancer. And I'm saying, well, wait a minute. This is serious. I said, wait, what? He said, yeah, we found that you have, cancer in your cervix. I said, oh my God. Okay. I said, okay, so how do we fix it?
Right.
Okay, what do we do? What's the next plan of action? He
Yeah.
said, okay, we're going to have to do a radical hysterectomy on you, and all of that. And so at this time, I had all my children. I wasn't like concerned about, oh, I'm my kid. I've had all my kids, all of that. And, so he said, we're going to have to do that. And, he was explaining to me, the process and what to expect and all of this. And he was talking to me about now this part, to me, it's funny still. He
Okay.
was explaining to me about the procedure, what they're going to do, what they're going to take out. Okay. Then he says, oh, yeah. And then, after the surgery, you're going to have a catheter. I said, Doc.
What is a catheter?
I said, hold on. I said, hold on now. I
Okay.
said, you told me I had cancer. You told me
Okay.
I have to have a radical hysterectomy. That's fine.
Okay.
But now you're telling me that I have to have a catheter?
What is that?
A catheter is, depending on what type of surgery you have, or even if you don't have surgery, some people have to have one.
Okay.
They put in like a tube in a certain place, and that assists you in as far as urinating when
Okay.
when you're not able to go on your own. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
it was a tube that they had to put in. Not trying to be too graphic, because
Okay.
the reason I'm going into this is because, like I said, I was okay with everything else until he told me that that I had to have a catheter for a little bit.
Okay, that's extra.
Yeah, that's extra. So it's like, okay, doc. So I am in shock and disbelief, and like I said, I was by myself at the time, and
Yeah.
I
It's
just.
all happening on the same day
What do you
or a
mean?
different day. I mean,
No,
the
well,
day of the appointment.
I had to, go in for the biopsy. I left from there, and then, they
Yeah,
had to get the results and all of that. So this
exactly.
was after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there in disbelief, shock, we're talking about blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
He said, do you have any questions? You all right? I said, yeah, I'm okay. It's just a lot to process. This
Yes.
can be fixed. I am not worried about that. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I did ask him this, because this to me was a very important question. I said, Doc, I got a question for you.
Okay.
If I hadn't came in when I came in, and if you guys didn't catch it when you did, how
Yeah.
long would I have had to live? How long would
Good
I
question.
had?
Yeah.
He said, oh, probably a year. It's like, are you serious?
Oh God.
He gave me a year. Now when he told me that, I was I was more in shock, because that is a big
Wow.
deal. Now you mean to tell me, if I hadn't gone, if I had waited, if I didn't go to, over a year, I would not be sitting here talking to you.
Right.